Is it good now? Let's see. So it hasn't started on here. The problem is, so this is why I use OBS for my streams. I have no idea when the stream is actually going to start. Is there like a red box in the top corner? Oh, there it is. Hey, here we are. All right, well, welcome to the workshop, everybody. So today I'm streaming over Starlink, which the last two videos on my channel explained bringing Starlink, the Dishy, out to my cousin's farm, failing at that, and then bringing it back home and putting it on my roof, and that has worked. And here's the statistics. Currently, this is live on Starlink, so we're broadcasting over this, and it's working. But as you can see, there's obstructions because I have a tree in the way of part of my signal, and every now and then there's a little bit of beta downtime. So hopefully we'll get through the stream, and YouTube's streaming app will pick back up if there is a short dropout, but we'll see. So this stream's purpose is twofold. First, to see if I can stream over Starlink, and if Starlink's little interruptions will bring it down, and this will be the shortest live stream ever, or if it'll actually work. But the other thing, and I have a nice agenda here that I'll be following so I don't forget to say anything. The other thing that I wanted to do, and I've been wanting to do this for a couple months now, it's just time, you never have enough of it. I wanted to get this Ender 3 V2 that I bought last year up and running with OctoPrint. So I've had it running for a few months now, and I of course did the obligatory dozen or so test prints. This is a little dog that comes with the printer. I did a test print to test the, whether it can print an overhang and little towers and things and bridging, all those kind of things. I even made a little catapult that launches things, but the little spoon on it breaks off. And as time went on, I got to know how to set the temperatures right and everything, and I printed out a gear that worked, and it's nice and smooth, and a wrench that actually works and is nice and smooth. So I have it dialed in. The thing that's most annoying about 3D printers in general, I think, is trying to get the bed level. And I am seeing myself all over the place here. I'm going to hide this window so I don't see myself. There we go. And now I can even do things like print these more complex models with connected parts that this is literally how it prints. You just pull it off the bed, and there it is. This is the little GitHub OctoCat with little bendy legs, which is fun. The kids love this one, and if I hold it under the light and put it in the dark, it is actually glow in the dark. You might not be able to see this, but we'll see. Well, there's a lot of light, but it turns a little green. Glow in the dark filament isn't the most glow in the dark thing in the world, but anyway, so I got this Ender 3. I bought it last year. I got it on a sale. It was like $200 or so, and I think it's normally like $229. There's a link to it in the description for anybody that wants to get any of this equipment. I think I have everything linked down there. But I bought the printer. I got this case because down in my workshop, is it reconnecting? Maybe. Okay. Yep. Oh, we're back. Okay. It might be, is it counting up still on here? Yeah. Okay, so it's something right now. And we have a computer on a separate network over here. Come back before I start talking more about the printing. Come on. Said it was back for a second at 144p and choppy. Yeah, so here's the problem. Is it still streaming on there? Yeah. Okay, yeah. I'm hoping that it comes back. So you can see the upstream bandwidth went way down to almost nothing, and then popped back up for a second, and now it's coming back up. So I think that we're going to be coming back to actual streaming at like 15, 30 frames per second, something like that. The problem is that I have a tree that overhangs part of Dishy's coverage, and that tree gets in the way every 15 or 20 minutes. This morning I had about 30 minutes of continuous coverage, so we'll keep monitoring that. We'll see. I'm clear again. That's good. So anyway, the Ender 3 V2 is what I would say a good value printing. I know enough to print things now, and I've even designed a couple things, but what I found is that the more you pay, the more things you get that make 3D printing simpler to do and easier to replicate something multiple times without having to mess with it. So the 3v2 has a lot of built-in features and conveniences, like this little knob that you can turn to extrude things. It has it's not a touch screen, it's like a rotate the knob dial control screen. And it has better gears and better tensioning and things like that. There's all these little features that you can upgrade a smaller, cheaper printer to do a lot of these things. But it's all built in on this one, and it took me about an hour or so to set the printer up. It's not something where you just buy it, it's in a box, and you set it down and start printing. So it takes a while to get all this stuff to work correctly together and start getting prints. And this was probably my 30th print or so to get this guy, and it still had a couple little issues that I had to work through, and the mouth is still a little bit off. But anyway, so that's enough about the 3D printer. One other annoyance that I have is every time I want to print something right now, I have to take out a micro SD card, put it in my computer, copy the sliced model onto this card, and then come back to the printer, stick it in there, and then go over to the printer screen and go through the menus. And it's a lot of work to do that. I mean, first world problems. It's more that I'm just lazy. But I wanted to see if there's a way to not have to do that. And I found out through the GitHub Stars program, and GitHub Stars is kind of like just a way to acknowledge some people that contribute to open source projects and use GitHub to do a lot of that. I found out through the GitHub Stars program about OctoPrint, which is a pretty lightweight way to run a computer, or in my case, a Raspberry Pi, to control the 3D printer, to set up prints. And it has a lot of plugins, and one of the plugins that I'm really interested in is the OctoLapse plugin, which will let me get better time lapses. And so come and look at the screen here. I have a couple things that I want to mention about that. So I have been using, so here, look at this guy here. I have been using this Raspberry Pi on an ARM with, let's see if I can rotate it. It has the Pi camera built into it. And I've used this to make time lapses that look like this one. And I mean, you can see the thing is growing out of the 3D printed bed, and that's kind of cool and stuff. But I've been seeing on YouTube these other people with 3D printers, and they have much cooler 3D print videos. So this one, you can see it comes up, and then finally it pops out. But I wanted a video like this one. And this is from Great Scott, another great YouTube channel that you should follow and subscribe to if you're interested in this kind of stuff. But it was like, wait, that's just like growing out of the printed bed. That's really cool. I want to do that. So I found out that you can do this using OctoLapse with OctoPrint. And so that's my goal, is I want to do that. And so I'm going to end up using this, I'm going to end up using this Raspberry Pi. It's a 4B 1 gigabyte. This is actually the first Raspberry Pi 4 that I bought in 2019, I think. And I ended up getting it into this Argon 1 M2 case. And this is a little bit more expensive than you need. You can work with a lower quality case and less storage and things like that. But this setup that I'm using cost $120. Now, something that a lot of people are always saying is like, oh, Raspberry Pis are so cheap. It's $35 or even cheaper if you buy a Pi Zero or an old Pi. The thing is, you don't realize you do still need a case. If you're going to put it in a case, the case needs to either be aluminum, like a heatsink case, or have a fan. And you're going to need a power supply, and a better power supply is going to be a good idea. And you'll need storage. So in my case, I went kind of premium. This is like the high end of a Raspberry Pi 4 setup, and it's around $120. So I went with an SSD that I'm using over the USB connection. So it'll boot up. And since it's going to store a lot, yeah. If the phone's not having trouble, then we'll say that the people in live chat are the ones having trouble anymore. It's true. I'm terrible at growing things. I have the worst non-green thumb ever. I'm better at killing plants than growing plants. So this is not a grow tent. This is actually a case, and I think I was mentioning this before the stream dropped out earlier. The reason I do this is because there is a draft in this work area, and the work area is like 64 to 68 degrees. So because of that, I put it in the since I did that. Before that, things would be peeling off the bed all the time. Prints would start turning into spaghetti once they get back. I'm going to get this out. Yeah, someone's mentioning with Starlink coverage is not good at lower latitudes yet. I'll show you a couple things too, since part of the point of the stream is to test. Oh, you know what? I actually have a Raspberry Pi that's running internet speed tests every 15 minutes or every 30 minutes. So that earlier dropout might have been from that. So sorry about that. It'll happen again at 10:40 or so. But yeah, the further south you go, the fewer satellites can cover your area at the same time. So I'm down here in St. Louis, and this is satellite map.space, showing all the Starlinks around the world, and you can watch them in their orbits. They orbit the globe in a circular fashion, but since the globe is also moving, you see this kind of pattern like this up and down. And so at any given moment, there's usually two satellites that are within range for me. Like right now, there's these two, 2AT and 7AC. But every once in a while, like you can see down here, there's no satellites within range. There might be a satellite that could pick up an area around here, but this is one of the reasons why Starlink is still limiting the number of people on their network. They just don't have all the satellites to give coverage, especially at more southern latitudes. If you're up north, you're going to get a lot more coverage because there's a lot of obstruction. That happens when at my house there's a tree facing this way. Let's see. So I have a little plug in the back here. Excuse me while I get this plugged in. So I'm going to clean this up a little bit more later, but for now, I'm just going to it won't get in the way of the printer. I'm going to put it over here, and I actually so I cheated a little bit. I didn't want to do this during the live stream, but I wrote OctoPrint to the card or to the SSD on this Raspberry Pi. I used OctoPrint, the latest version SSD, and that's a lot faster. And put it into my Pi-hole setup, and the DNS name for this is now octopi.gearly.net. You can't see that because that's on my private internal network. At least you shouldn't see that. If you do, let me know, and please don't hack me. So I'm going to plug this in. It's booting up. And OctoPrint, I haven't set it up. Sorry, a little bit of, what is that? No satellites. So like I said, that happens every now and then when we're in a dead zone like this, and it looks like I might have been in this dead zone. If there's no satellites, you can't get internet with Starlink. So that's something that until more satellites are launched, that will still happen for some people. And for me, like I said, those red periods are when a satellite is behind a tree, basically. All right, so let's continue with this. Printer profile. So this is something I did look up. Again, I cheated a little bit. I looked up how to do this and found this guide on how to, I instead of trying to look at the bed and find these settings myself, I was like, okay, I'll just grit this here. So print, bed, and build volume. I'm going to do this. It's rectangular. Let me try to get these windows next to each other. Okay. Rectangular, lower left, heated bed, not heated chamber, build volume 220, 220. And these settings are actually, so I'm going to push this back. Some of these things are down here. Instead of you having to look it up online or something, some of these settings are on this board. With 3D printers, a lot of times it's kind of like things are kind of put together as a kit. The boards and things that you can use are interchangeable with other systems, and you can accessories, and um, I might do videos on some of that. Is it coming back?
Let's try.
Your laptop.
We're back.
Oh, okay. We're back. Sorry about that. Yeah, this time it's funny. There wasn't any dropout for the past couple minutes, so I don't know what that was about. Maybe just upload speed went down to nothing or something. But yeah, so a couple people mentioning in the chat, oh, Starlink is terrible. The reason I'm doing this is to see how it works. I didn't expect it to be perfect, especially because I'm down in a more southern latitude than the ones that always have coverage. So the cool thing about it is so far I've been seeing like 100 to 300 megabits download speeds and 10 to 40 megabits upload, which 40 megabits is actually better than I get on my home cable connection that I pay $150 a month for. So if things keep improving, then there's a chance that I might even consider dropping cable, which I've hated my cable connection forever pretty much. But anyway, let's go back to here. I'm trying to figure out where this, it said like install plugins, and I'm not seeing that. It says there's a plugin manager.
Why don't you Google plugin manager?
Yeah, let's see. You can do it via the command line, and I might end up doing that. OctoPrint settings. It comes bundled with OctoPrint. So where's OctoPrint settings? That's what I'm... User settings? No. Power? No, I don't want to shut it down. Does anybody see settings? There's this system thing here, but it doesn't have a settings link. And I'm logged in as admin. 3 years ago. Update your thing. Yeah, so this is interesting. Wrench. Oh, so the wrench means settings. Okay, if you hover over it. So this is another thing that, like, one of my pet peeves with a lot of modern interface design is the idea that the icons convey a lot of meaning. You know, maybe I could think that this means settings or not, but why not just leave the text link, especially on desktop where you have the space for it. All right, so here's settings. Let's go to plugin manager, and I'm going to grab these two, Creality, so Creality. And I have to say that there's actually a cool setup for the way, why is this not showing? Oh, get more. Okay, Creality. I'll drop these both in. The way that these plugins are set up on GitHub itself, Gina, I think is her name. I'm totally blanking on the name of the main maintainer for OctoPrint, but whoever it is, she put together a really cool blog post, and I think she did a presentation on how she uses GitHub Actions with all these plugins to build a site for it and the API for it and all that kind of stuff. Really cool setup, and I think she even uses GitHub Pages to host it all. So anyway, there's temperature, and then we'll install this one. All right. Basically, like, everything here uses GitHub features to build a whole ecosystem around OctoPrint, and the way it's done impressed me a ton. Okay, so the other one that I wanted was Octolapse. And I've never used Octolapse, don't know how it works, but I'm going to try it out and see what happens. All right, it's installing Octolapse. Looks like it has to do some build work. And I'm using Octopi, which I downloaded from the official link on the OctoPrint website. You can also install OctoPrint separately. Like if you were running the 64-bit beta version of PiOS or some other distribution, you can install it separately. It's literally just a Python application. And you can even install it on Windows or a Mac too. So if you don't have a Raspberry Pi, or if you have an older computer that you wanted to repurpose as a 3D printer controller, you can do that. So it looks like this is taking its time. I'm going to log into the Pi. I'll make this bigger so you can see it. Pi at, what is it, OctoPi. Let's see what it's doing. Yeah, so it's compiling something. And the compilation's taken a while. To be expected, the Raspberry Pi is not the fastest computer on Earth when it comes to compiling things. As an example, when I'm compiling the Raspberry Pi kernel, it takes about an hour on the Raspberry Pi if you run it with 4 jobs in parallel for each of the 4 CPU cores. It takes about 10 minutes on my MacBook Pro here. Okay, so it's done with that. Close, and it says a restart is needed, so I'll try restarting it. Restart the server. Okay, it's being restarted in the background. There's a new version. All right. Go ahead and do that. I like how everything's in the Web UI. I mean, for something like this, 99% of the time with Raspberry Pis, I'm on the command line and I'm doing things over SSH or via serial port. But for something like OctoPrint, which I wanted to just control my printer, I don't want to have to spend all the time setting it up. It is nice to have this UI. And looking through the issue queues and some of the features and things, I'm also impressed by the security track record for OctoPrint. Let's see. Reload. Uh-oh, it's choppy again. Let's see how Starlink's doing. Whenever it does this, it just means that there's no data for here because I guess it caches it. But it looks like we're doing okay. So hopefully the stream will get clear again for everybody. And see how the satellites are doing. Yeah, right now I'm having plenty of coverage. There's 3 or 4 satellites overhead right now. So the funny thing though is that OctoPrint is not loading the interface right now. It's on time-lapse. I'm going to delete that. And okay, loading failed. Let's see what's going on. It's not seeing the server with the specified host name. Passive login failed. Maybe it's still rebooting itself. Let's check. It says OctoPrint's running in top, but where is that log file? Let's see. CD var log. I don't see OctoPrint in there. Is it in there? No. CD OctoPrint. Nope. Oprint. Still not loading. Well, this is interesting. It said look for octoprint.log, but I don't see it. So let's cd or cd to slash find sudo find dash name octoprint.log. Okay, so there is a log in .octoprint logs. Let's see. I don't see any warnings or any problems in here. But I'm not getting any response on here. So let's say so I also don't know if it's okay, so it's installed like that. It says it's running. I'm going to try restarting it. And let's see if it comes back up over here. Try connecting it with the direct IP. I'll try that next. It says it's running since 10 seconds ago. All right, what's the IP? 192, no, 10.0.100. What is it? 169. Okay, so that worked. But if I go to OctoPrint Gearly.net, that doesn't work. So that's interesting. I wonder if OctoPrint is trying to pick up its name, because it's called Octopi as its host name, and maybe it's, oh, you know what? It's not OctoPrint, it's Octopi. But that's still not working. Cache issue. So the problem is name resolution. Yeah, so if I go on my Mac, curl octopi.gearly.net, couldn't resolve host. That's interesting. Ping octopi.gearly.net. Huh. Name resolution is failing. I wonder if, so let's see, if I go to gearly.net /admin. So I'm going to pop over to my Pi-hole admin and see what's going on there. If I go to DNS records and octopi.gearly.net should be resolving to that. I wonder. That's weird. I don't know why it's not resolving, because in my system I have it set to go through advanced DNS. Oh, why is it going to, oh, yeah, 10.152 is this one. This is Pi-hole. So I don't know why this isn't working, because 10.0.100.1 is going to the Pi-hole too. So anyway, we'll just use the IP address for now. I'll figure out the networking issue later. This has been working fine for all my other stuff, so I don't know why that's not working. Let's try the IP address though. 10.0.100.169, and my login is OctoPrint admin. All right, so we're back in here, and now the next thing that I'm going to do is plug the Pi in to the printer to see if we can connect. So I'm going to use the micro USB port on the front of the printer, and I'm going to plug it into, I'll put the Pi over here. I'm going to plug it into one of the USB 2.0 ports. And I hear whining, like a coil whine. Oh, that's interesting. So I plugged it in, and the printer actually turned itself on, which is strange because the printer's power switch is turned off. I don't know how that's possible, but I'm going to go ahead and turn the printer on. And now all the fans are turning on, so all the stepper motors are activated. So let's try connecting to it. Connect. Detecting serial connection, and my lights just turned off. Hold on a second. Turn on lights. There we go. Magic. All right, it's offline, no candidates, no connection. Let's try this again. Anything else that I need? Okay, operational. Here we go. Okie dokie. So it's seeing it. This is cool. It sees the files that are on the card that are inside of the printer, so that's nice. And I'm going to do a test print in a minute, but first, so that's good. So I don't have the webcam set up. I'm also going to do that really quick. So I have a Logitech C920, I think this is. I'm just using this for now, just for simplicity's sake. One downside to this particular case, the Argon 1 M2, is that it doesn't have a slot that you can put the camera connection cable out. So you can't connect like an HQ camera or the little camera in there directly to the Pi. So you have to do it, use a webcam. And I'm going to be upgrading this setup soon. I'm just doing this for today. I'm going to set this on a tripod and probably knock into it a few hundred times. I'm going to point this at the bed, and we'll see what we can see. The other really cool thing, the reason why I wanted to use OctoPrint, is I had that camera set up as a web server so I can check on it but it didn't have a nice UI. It didn't stream the video or anything, so I had to like refresh the page, and I even wrote a little JavaScript to do it for me. But OctoPrint has this all built in. It's all plugins. It's all open source. So if I find a problem, I can contribute back and fix that stuff, which is cool. But I'm going to put this camera here, and it's going to be getting in my way constantly. So that'll be fun. Okay, and then I'm going to come back over here. And how do I get a, let's see, settings, webcam, and time-lapse. Okay, let's try this. Settings, webcam, and time-lapse. So, oh, there it is. That's cool. And it's live, so I can adjust things as I like. See, this is the reason why something like OctoPrint is so much better than hand hacking together all my own little scripts, because I could write my own plugin for it if I want to. And it has options to flip. So that's cool, because if what I'm planning on doing at some point is putting the camera on a mount probably from up here that comes up like this, or I could put it off the side here. There's a lot of different places I could put it. The key is to not put it somewhere that would interact with the z-axis coming up and down and breaking something. But I want to mount it so that it can be all self-contained inside here, so I can control the temperature of the prints. So eventually I'll do that, but if you mount it upside down, you can just flip it in here and then still get good footage. So enable time-lapse support. I'm going to turn off the watermark for now. I'll get into this stuff later when I want to start doing more testing. Okay, so that's cool. Looks like that should work, but it's not loaded, it says. Why is that? Excuse me. Let's see. I don't know why webcam. I have to refresh. That's working. Okay. I don't see it here. I'm going to restart. Let's try restarting OctoPrint and see if the webcam shows up. And also let's check on Starlink while it's doing that. So Starlink seems to have been up for the past little bit, so that's cool. All right. Reload. Control. Okay, so now I'm seeing the webcam. This is pretty spiffy. I'm happy it's all just working out of the box. And I'm going to connect to the printer again. It's connected. I'm going to upload a file. So I grabbed a super tiny test print here. Actually, I'm going to need to slice it first. So I'll open up Cura. Cura seems to be pretty simple and easy to use, so that's why I'm trying it out. Anything in the chat that's interesting? Yeah, I had to refresh after the first time you connected up. It's a little blurry, sorry. Yeah, I mean, the main reason I'm doing this live stream today is to test Starlink. The secondary reason is it gives me an excuse to finally set up OctoPrint, which I've been putting off for so long. So I'm going to open up Cura, and this is something I can't show you that yet. I'm going to grab, where's that file? Little tiny test print. So I'm going to pop that into here, open, and there's our little teeny tiny test print. So I'm going to do under 3, standard quality, that's fine. Slice it. Okay, it says it's going to take 30 minutes. I'm not going to keep you guys for 30 minutes, don't worry. I just want to see if OctoPrint can control the printer, get this thing going, and start printing for me. I'm going to save that. And actually, I think there's a way that I could print this or send it directly from Cura to OctoPrint. I'm not going to set that up right now. I'll just do it the traditional way and save this file out. I'm going to save it to the desktop and then use this interface to upload the file. This is what I'm guessing I need to do. Choose. Okay, tiny tester. And I wonder, is there a way that I can preheat on here? I don't see like a preheat button. On the camera's interface over here, I can go to prepare and then preheat PLA, and that just gets everything heated up so that I don't have to so I don't have to wait for it to heat up again when I start the print. But I don't see any setting for that. I'm sure there's some way to do it over here. But let's see my OctoLapse.
It said preheat under the temperature monitor.
Oh, temperature. Okay. Is there a preheat thing here? I don't see it. Oh, I guess you could change the target and then preheat it that way. Okay. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. All right, so, and I like this too. Like on here, I can see the temperature, but on here you get a graph, which is even more fun. And you get this fun little octopus holding its little, what is that called? Crystal ball. I guess seeing into the future of your print. So time-lapse and OctoLapse. I guess time-lapse is this built into it, and then OctoLapse is the plugin that I added. Printer. Add a printer profile. Ender 3 v2. Creality. Ender 3. Okay.
Someone else said there's a preheat plugin.
Oh, there's a preheat plugin. Yeah, I'm sure there's a plugin for a lot of the things that I'll be like, I don't know why it doesn't do this. There's a plugin for that. Let's see. Automatic. Okay, I'll just do that. Centered. Smart. MP4. I like this. There's a lot of good stuff in here. It seems like that should work. So we'll see how it works. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and wait the 30 minutes on the live stream for it to print, but we'll see if it starts off and starts working. So it looks like the temperature targets are just about there. Bed temperature's coming up. Let's see. Tiny tester. I don't want to download it. I don't want to move it. Let's back up. Okay, stream back up. Hopefully it is. So,
not yet.
Well,
there we go.
Okay, so again, some people are like, "Oh, Starlink is terrible." Remember, anytime you see that red, those are actually obstructions. So that's usually when the satellite is behind a tree. I have a tree that's in the way of about 10% of the Starlink sky coverage. So at some point, I might cut off a couple branches, a couple of the top branches that are cutting this out. But when it's red, that's that. It's obstructed by that tree. So it seems like that's what happened. The satellite was probably coming in from the west, and it was trying to pick it up, but it couldn't because of the tree, and then now it's picking it up, and now you can hear me again, and hopefully the stream is 5 by 5, as someone is saying. Yeah, tree is bad. Oh, boy. Okay, so it looks like we're ready to print, and it looks like over here I can just click Load and Print. I wonder if I click Load. So it loads it in, and I can click print up here or down there. Let's try it out and see what happens. I'm going to go to Control, Print. Oh no. I don't know what, I mean, I know some of what that means, but I don't know why slicer settings would be missing. Why is that? Cura. I didn't manually edit it. Oh. Okay. Let's try this guide for enabling automatic slicer settings.
It'd be nice if you got warned about that beforehand by Kira.
Yeah. Let's see. So, Cura requires simple configuration change. About. Okay, open Cura. Help. No. About. So these are instructions for the Windows version. Help. There's no about in here. So maybe under preferences? Yeah, it's under preferences, not under about. Oh, record the version number, so I might need that. All right, version number 4.8.0. Settings, which is preferences, printers, machine settings. I'm not doing that. Cura script. Okay, so I need to grab this. It's 4.8, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so I need to do this, and I need to go into the top of the Start G-code text box. Okay. Paste it there. And reslice. Okay. So close, close. And then I'm going to go back to the desktop, delete that one. I'm also going to go over here and delete this one. I can't unload it from there, so I'm just going to delete. Okay. Then I'll slice this again. Save to file. Save it again. Go back over here. Load. Upload file. Right there. And let's load it and print. Okay, let's see. That looks fine to me. Accept and continue. Oh, so you can disable this if you want to. Okay, it says it's starting, so let's glance over at the printer. Oh, you know what? It must have reset. So what is it doing? Is there a log terminal? What does it say? Anything in the live chat saying it's so that's, you know, I have 7 trees around my house. I would be happy to have 6 trees that doesn't. And over here, I do like how it's showing the temperature extruding that well right now. And again, if you're interested in net monitoring and Pi-hole setup, which is not working right now to get OctoPi satellites, right now there's like 1,000 active. So if you have less than 10% of your satellites active, their dropouts are expected. And if you have a guy like me who puts Dishy right in front of a tree that's covering up 10% of the coverage area, that will also cause an issue. But yeah, YouTube from 2010. The other thing is I'm doing this stream from my iPhone. Well, actually, my sister is holding the iPhone. Because of that, I think the YouTube app on the iPhone only does 720p. It doesn't do 1080. So even if I have the upload bandwidth, which I do, Starlink gives me 15 to 30 megabits, typically, even up to 40 megabits. So there's enough bandwidth to do 1080, but the app on the iPhone only does 720. And I don't know why it does it kind of really knocks it down to like 144p or 240p or something whenever it starts getting dropouts. Yeah, and I have a couple videos talking about, oh, is it down?
No.
Oh, okay, it's back. I have a couple videos. The previous 2 videos on my channel are about Starlink in a rural location. Right. Okay, let me know when we're back. Okay, we're back. Yeah. All right. So, so anyway, I think it's on. Looks like it's on its third or fourth layer. So it's not automatically pulling it out on OctoLapse. I thought that would be the default setting, but apparently not. So I'm going to have to try to figure that out, and then I'll make those cool time lapses where you see it kind of come out of the printer. Because if we're doing a time lapse like this, all you're going to see is the extruder for the first like 10 minutes. So that's no fun. But I'll be doing that. And like I said before, I got cut off the last time by Starlink having a short outage. Starlink has like 10% of its satellites up. As time goes on, I want to see how things improve, how speeds improve, how latency improves. Experiences like this, live streaming on because I think eventually Starlink could be a game changer for so many different types of people. Right now, it's already great for people who had DSL, being able to download games or download apps and do more high bandwidth applications. Obviously, there's some issues with things like streaming, but we'll see if this gets better. I wanted to do it today because right now there's 1,000 satellites. If there's 5,000 and it's better, that'd be cool. You could see more people participate in so much of the internet that they couldn't before just because of where they were located on the planet. Anyway, so that's the point of this live stream. It looks like pretty much everything's working, and I got some tweaking to do. That's 3D printing in a nutshell. You keep tweaking, and then you realize there's more things you can tweak, and so you keep tweaking. It's kind of exponential growth of tweaking and modifying your printer and all that kind of stuff. So later on, I'll post on Twitter a picture of whatever comes out of here, if it comes out well or not. But anyway, that's all I got today, and thanks for watching. Everything is linked in the description, and I'll be posting on Twitter, and follow me, subscribe on YouTube, etc., etc. Till next time, I'm Jeff Kierling.